At the beginning of the movie, we are introduced to a woman traveling to a remote hunting lodge in the Austrian Alps with her two companions, Hugo and Louise, along with their beloved dog, Lynx. After arriving, Louise insists that Hugo accompany her to a pub in a nearby village, leaving the woman behind at the lodge because she wants to relax. Their dog is also left with her. That night, the woman sleeps alone, waiting for her friends to return. However, the next day, they still haven't come back. Surrounded by complete silence, she begins to feel uneasy and fears that something may have happened to them. Concerned, she decides to walk into the village with her dog to look for them. As they move through the streets, Lynx suddenly stops and starts barking. When the woman tries to move forward, the dog refuses, as if it has seen something terrifying. Moments later, the woman runs into something invisible, an unseen wall blocking her path. Confused, she touches it with her hands and realizes it feels like glass, translucent and solid, and appears to be connected to the surrounding rocks. No matter how hard she tries, she cannot pass through it. Unable to move forward, she returns to the lodge with her dog. Later, she approaches a nearby farmhouse, hoping to find help. However, the invisible barrier prevents her from interacting with the two owners, who appear frozen in time. Although water still flows from the tap, the people remain completely still, like lifeless video game characters. She screams for help and pushes against the wall, but no one responds. Eventually, overwhelmed by the strange atmosphere, she gives up and leaves. Every day, she revisits the area, hoping the wall will disappear, but it never does. One night, she wakes up after hearing a loud noise outside the lodge. Terrified, she checks everything and opens the door, only to see the wall standing directly in front of the lodge's entrance. She screams in panic, but then wakes up, realizing it was a nightmare. The next morning, she cautiously opens the door again and is relieved to see the entrance clear and the wall gone. Using binoculars, she surveys the area and comes to a disturbing conclusion. The couple at the farmhouse and everyone else in the village must be dead. While wandering the land, she finds a cow and decides to take it with her. She feeds and milks the animal, naming it Bella, understanding that the cow is both a blessing and a responsibility. Determined to escape, she gets into Hugo's car and drives toward the village, hoping to break through the barrier. Instead, she crashes into the invisible wall. Her head begins to bleed, and she is injured, but the barrier remains completely intact. Later, we see her writing down her experiences inside the lodge. She notes that she has been trapped there for 10 days and that no one has come for her. Overwhelmed by despair, she breaks down crying and even considers ending her life as the only possible escape. She thanks Hugo for stocking enough supplies to last through the winter. Eventually, she gathers herself and decides to survive. With Bella, a constant supply of firewood and stored food, she believes she can make it through the summer. She marks each passing day on a calendar, grows potatoes, and searches for food, small reminders of her former civilized life. One rainy day, she hears noises outside and cautiously steps out to investigate. She finds a small, frail cat soaked in the rain and decides to adopt it. As the months pass, food begins to run low. Winter is approaching, and she realizes she must provide enough supplies to survive the entire season. Forced to adapt, she begins hunting animals for food. She goes deer hunting with Lynx, but is injured by the rifle's recoil and fails to kill the deer. Later, she returns to the wrecked car and finds a map that helps her locate another nearby resort. One morning, she travels to another lodge in a high alpine meadow with her dog. The peaceful scenery, warm summer sun, and birdsong begin to change her. She spots a truck carrying timber in the forest and approaches it, hoping to see another person. Once again, the invisible barrier stops her. This time, instead of reacting with fear or anger, she calmly smiles and walks away. During her journey, she finds another lodge and gathers useful supplies. Though she longs to sit peacefully in the sun with Lynx at her feet, she returns home to care for Bella. On the way back, she shoots a deer and feels deep guilt for taking its life. That night, a violent storm frightens her, and she hides inside the lodge as thunder roars. The next morning, she hears strange noises coming from a cabinet. When she opens it, she discovers that the cat has given birth to a small, fragile white kitten. She names the kitten Pearl, believing its beauty contrasts with the harsh world around them. Reflecting on her situation, she compares herself to the animals, alone, vulnerable, and destined, like all living beings, to eventually die. Later that year, on July 20th, the woman begins harvesting hay in the meadow through exhausting physical labor. During the process, her hands become badly injured, developing sores and cracks. Due to harsh weather conditions and her weakened state, it takes her nearly 3 weeks to finish harvesting the meadow. Although autumn is normally her favorite season, she feels increasingly unwell. She struggles to sleep and experiences intense, vivid nightmares. Still, she finds comfort in Lynx, her closest companion. His cheerful and energetic nature never allows sadness to linger for long, and she believes there is something special about herself that makes Lynx bow his head whenever he looks at her. While searching for a new path, she comes across a tree covered in human clothing. As winter approaches, icy winds blow snow down from the mountains, forcing her to remain inside the lodge to survive the cold. During this time, she worries deeply about the cats, especially Pearl, the white kitten. Sadly, she later reveals that Pearl dies during a 3-day windstorm. Early one morning, she finds Pearl's lifeless body and buries her. That same night, the storm finally ends. This marks the first time the woman directly confronts death in the wilderness. She reflects that she feels like the only being left who can still distinguish right from wrong. On November 5th, she resumes writing her report using the backs of old calendars and scraps of stationery. A harsh winter lies ahead. She senses that Bella is pregnant and feels a deep emotional bond with the cow, seeing her almost as a younger sister, someone who has also endured great hardship. At the same time, she feels growing guilt and anger over having to kill animals for food, which leaves her unable to sleep at night. On January 11th, Bella goes into labor. The woman stays with her through the long struggle until Bella finally gives birth to a healthy calf. In the following weeks, the woman becomes physically and emotionally drained, sometimes imagining herself collapsing into the cold, numbing snow. After spending an entire year in the valley, on May 25th, the woman and her animals leave together for the high mountain pasture. There, they spend the summer surrounded by sunlight during the day and stars at night. She notices that her homesickness and anxiety have faded. Unlike before, she no longer feels the need to keep a diary. For the first time in her life, her thoughts are quiet. She doesn't even record important events, believing they are still fresh enough to remember forever. During this second summer, she undergoes a deep inner transformation, as if her individual self is slowly dissolving into something greater. She enjoys peaceful days in the pasture, fully immersed in nature. In October, she returns from the mountains and resumes writing. Winter arrives quickly, followed just as swiftly by spring. Time seems to move faster now, and she barely remembers writing at all. She observes that while she is busy working, time passes unnoticed, but once she stops, it suddenly embraces her again. In one quiet moment, she sits alone, thinking about Lynx and reflecting on the suffering of both animals and humans who are forced to live against their will. One morning, she notices a white crow that appears to have been rejected by its black flock. She finds it beautiful and reflects on how strange it is that such a creature should exist at all. She leaves food for the crow after the others fly away, seeing it as a reflection of her own solitude. Gradually, the woman lets go of her past and fully adapts to this new way of life. In June, she and the animals return to the meadow, though it no longer excites her as it once did. She notes that Lynx now fears nothing and no longer believes she will vanish. A dog's greatest fear, she reflects, is being abandoned by the one they love, and she believes she and Lynx share a deep, unspoken bond. One day, while returning from a hike, Lynx senses something wrong and runs toward the lodge. When the woman arrives, she witnesses a strange man brutally killing Bella's bull calf with an axe. Horrified, she rushes inside to get her rifle. As Lynx tries to stop the man, he is killed. The woman shoots the stranger dead. Devastated, she buries Lynx and disposes of the man's body by throwing it off a cliff. Early the next morning, she leaves the pasture with Bella and returns to the small valley. In October, she harvests potatoes, fruit, and straw, a task that takes a full week, knowing winter is close. On February 25th, having run out of paper, the woman finishes her report. When stripped of society, routine, and human contact, survival becomes less about strength and more about responsibility, compassion, and acceptance. True humanity is revealed not through control or dominance over nature, but through coexistence, empathy, and the willingness to endure solitude without losing one's moral compass. So that's it. I hope you enjoy the story. Subscribe and press the bell icon for more video.